Can you hear me, guys? I hope so. So I just started my missions just 5 minutes back. I just started. Um, and I noticed that this mission is saying DR node virtual mission agent status is not ready. So I got this error in the past. I was not able to fix this. Okay, so what should I do now? Just give me a second. Like, is anyone knows how to resolve this? Virtual mission agent status is not ready. I will just give a quick try and then, okay, it got up. Yeah, got it. Thank God. Finally. So now what will happen to the replicas? Okay. Everything okay now? Um, Wait to bring, okay, that's fine. So DR node is okay, fine. So looks everything is fine. So I'll start my session. So I have to drop my listener and I will show it from the scratch. Let me connect to DR node. This is going to be our last session on this part. We completed all the scenarios. I don't think we have any scenario left. Let me, I will first drop this and I will talk about the scenarios what we covered. When it comes to always on, do you know how many scenarios that we covered? Like how many of them I covered? Only on always on, I'm saying, not on other topics, only on always on. There's so many topics. Yeah, next one will be lift and shift. So since I'm done with this part, so it will be lift and shift most likely. I don't know how to carry out lift and shift. I have to practice myself and I have to show it to you. That's a different story. But only on always on, we did so many sessions, so many. So there is no session left for us to cover. I'm saying you again, except that basic availability groups and clusterless availability groups. I'm not touching clusterless availability groups because of the fact it's not being used anywhere else. So that is the reason I didn't touch clusterless availability groups and I didn't touch basic availability groups because it is standard edition. Apart from that, we covered everything that is possible from our side with respect to always on. Most likely every scenario. I'm saying you that. So in your environments, okay, in your environments, if you have anything else that I have not covered, let me know. We will cover that also. I don't think there is anything that is left from my side because I covered almost every topic with respect to different types of configurations. Okay, so
Okay, which I have built, and also I have
no, I'm
proposed
not able to hear you, bro.
so he said while creating this server build, means we are just creating this server build about the post
Ganesh,
connectivity we never
Ganesh,
did on the Azure VM. Okay, so such a kind of the connectivity we never seen in any of the server which are the build and which I
I
have
think
also
he is
created.
in meeting. I believe so.
Now I am projecting the thing.
But he forgot to unmute himself. Sorry, mute himself. That's fine. I thought he's talking with me. Okay, now let's see the final scenario. So let me open that diagram. So we have two missions here and one mission here. So we covered multi-subnet. The problem with multi-subnet listener is if this node, secondary node, if this becomes primary, since I cannot attach that IP configuration, I mean to say that IP address under that network interface card. So if this becomes primary, node 1 or DR node cannot connect to node 2. That is the problem what I had with the um, multi-subnet scenario. So how to overcome this problem? If I wanted to have single listener and works with all from all nodes, what should I do? What did I do in my previous classes? If anyone knows. So
DNN you can configure.
DNN or load balancer.
So DNN I covered. If I use DNN, I'm able to connect from all the nodes without any problem. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yes.
DNN is one solution. Now, if I wanted to implement the same solution with the load balancer, can I do this? Okay, that is the question what we have in our mind. So I'm going to show you that. What is the problem with DNN? Why can't I make use of DNN for this kind of architecture on Azure VMs? Do you think is there any problem if I use DNN for this kind of setup like HANDR? As far as I know, the problem with the DNN is if you have to have your replication on top of DNN, it won't work. Okay, if you wanted to leverage replication on top of always on, right? So we do have support of always on with replication right from 2012 only. But if you wanted to leverage replication with DNN, it's not there. That's what the caveats with respect to DNN. So let me show you that DNN always on. Okay, so transactional merge and snapshot replication all supporting the VNN listener with the DNN listener and port in replication of the current. So they have written somewhere the problem. So we cannot use distributed availability groups. DAG is not possible. If you wanted to configure DAG on top of DNN, it is clearly mentioned that distributed availability group on top of DNN is not supported. That's for sure. Replication, transaction, merge and snapshot replication, all supporting replay, all support. Okay, it is saying all supported, replacing the VNN listener with DNN port number to connect. I don't know how far this works with DNNs because I never tested replication on top of, sorry, always on with replication together. I didn't test that. Probably we need to test that scenario. So some few people were asking me about replication with always on. So I will cover that. Um, that is the only problem. That means we are left only with the problem is only with DAG. If you wanted to implement DAG on top of DNN, then that's the problem. If you see the last question, does DNN support multi-subnet clusters? That is what we are doing here, right? If you see my setup, this is our multi-subnet cluster. So the question says, sorry. Yes, it supports multi-subnet clusters. The cluster binds the DNN in DNS, means in the Active Directory, you can see three IPs for your always on listener with the physical IPs of all the replicas in the availability group, regardless of the subnet, regardless of the subnet. So it doesn't matter, even if you are on different region or different subnet, it will still bind. So DNN do support multi-subnets. So the only limitation that is stopping us from making use of DNN is going to be DAG. If I want DAG on top of DNN, then it won't work. Otherwise, no issues. Even replication, they are saying it's being supported. But how far it works, I didn't test, so I cannot say it confidently. I think they said it will work, right? So we have to test it out. Okay, now the scenario is with load balancer. So what if I want to implement the same solution with load balancer? So that is our topic. Let me maximize this. So I wanted to create load balancer here to configure this setup. So let's go and try to do that. And I will show you what are the challenges, what we face and how to overcome them. So let me go this. And I just deleted my listener. So how we have to show you, I have to show you from the scratch. So let me make my node one as primary so that it will be easy for me to uh, cover this up. Yeah, node one is primary. So now I need to configure listener, always on listener. So I'm going up here, okay, and I'm going to add listener. So before I do, okay, let it be. Let's do this. Listener name, I will say, what is this? Load balancer, right? Load balancer test LBTST 6 letter LIST. demo. I want a big name because I made use of so many things for my DNS, so I'm not sure if it throws error. So that is a reason I'm using some bigger name. So it says load balancer test listener demo. Okay, so 1433. So I'm just creating similar to on-premises. Okay, I'm just creating similar to on-premises, but it won't work without help of load balancer. Okay, that is the difference between on-prem and Azure VMs. So if I wanted to connect from secondary replicas, I will not be able to connect unless I configure that load balancer and then run that script. There is a script that we need to run, right? So we need to run that script, otherwise it won't connect. I'll show you now. Just wait. So IP address is going to be 10.1.0.35. Okay, and if I need to click on add again because this is multi-subnet. So I need to have my two IP addresses, one for uh, first region and another one for another region. So this has to be 10.1.1 series. Any questions, guys? I am not sure. If you have any questions, if you have, you can stop me. Okay, let's see if it gets created. Okay, so this got created now, and node 1 is primary. Since node 1 is primary, I think it should not be any problems for me if I wanted to connect to my listener. So let me copy that listener name. It's a bigger name what I've given. So it's going to be SQL CMD -s dot contoso.com -USA -P. Okay, so I'm able to connect from node 1. Since node 1 is primary, it will not be any, I mean, I will not face any problems. That is fine. So now if I fail it over to node 2, then I will not be able to connect from node 1. So what is this question? Even we need to create SQL FCA instance virtual name also for load balancer. SQL FCA, yes, SQL FCA you have to create for that also, Mahendra. FCA is different topic. We are doing on always on now. FCA is failover cluster instance, right? So that is entirely different. I think there are two sessions on FCA. I don't think people are using FCA, SQL FCA nowadays. That is the reason I didn't show up so many classes. We do have two classes on it. Okay, now if I try to fail over and see the magic, it won't connect now. I will try to fail over to node 2. You know, before I start the session, everything was in resolving state. Okay, but I didn't touch anything. I know what is the problem because I lost the quorum. And once the DR node was up, everything came back online. I didn't touch anything here. It worked automatically. So let me fail over. Now node 2 is going to be primary. Since node 2 is primary, as I have not created, what is that? Listener, I mean to say load balancer, that script and all, since I didn't run, I shouldn't be able to connect from node 1. See, these are all fundamentals. If you stick to fundamentals, then we are in good shape. I'm not able to connect from node 1. So since I am not able to connect from node 1, it's highly impossible to connect from DR node also. Let me connect to DR node once. Is that IP? Will it allow me to connect? Let's see that. Okay, it's allowing me. Let's connect to DR node and run the same test. Are you getting the concepts? I'm not sure. I hope so.
Yes, Vamsi.
Okay. CMD equals CMD S. Oh, sorry. That name. I just wanted to show you that the failure, connection failure from node DR node. Then we will start our load balancer stuff. Uh, Same goes here. It won't connect. Okay, so what should I do now? I have to run that PowerShell script of load balancer. Then I will be able to connect from secondary nodes, secondary replicas. Otherwise, it won't connect. So that is the importance of load balancer script and load balancer. The problem with load balancer is if you configure load balancer, you will not be able to connect from your secondary replicas unless you run that script. That is the need for load balancer. I mean, if you configure load balancer, you need that. Otherwise, rest of the world can't connect to my SQL server using the listener. So it's not about balancing the load. Okay, don't say that the load balancer is to balance the load. If you say that, you are gone. There is nothing related to balancing the load here. The only purpose of a load balancer is since it doesn't know what the second replicas are and how to fail over it, we need to take the support of load balancer. And we have that class explicitly on that gratuitous ARP protocol and all. I don't want to go over there. So let's move on and let's try to run that PowerShell script. I think this is the one. Since I didn't close the systems properly, it should pop up with that script. Yeah. Uh, CST, I think this is not done. Okay, let me copy that script and we'll run that. Load balancer script. This one. So cluster network name is this one. So now we have two networks, right? So what should I do now? Which network should I pass here for our load balancer script? I have two networks. Till now, we are just having one network and I was just pasting this name. But now we have two networks. So what should I do now? Which network name should I pass? So that is the first question. So these questions will continue, but I will show you all the answers for that as well. Server IP network card. So we have two, not the network card. It's about the names. If I go here, there are two networks here, cluster network 1 and cluster network 2. So I have to just copy the cluster network 1 name and I have to pass that name over there to the load balancer script. That's what I did till now. But now the problem is since we are on multi-subnet and we are trying to leverage load balancer functionality on top of multi-subnet. So which one should I pass here? Network 1 or network 2 for this script? So that is the question. Just keep that aside. Now the second one is IP resource name. So IP resource name is nothing but you have to come over here to the roles and this is going to be your IP resource name currently. So it is with this name. And this is going to be cluster listener IP, which is 10.1.0.35. 10.1.0.35. And this is going to be that pro port, which is 549 by default. I mean, that's the number what usually we pass in real time. But if you have some other stuff, you have to run that as well. So I'm running the script. Now let's see if we get any errors because we are doing it only for this network. I'm not touching this network. So what should I do for this network is the question. Need to run script twice for each one. Yes, we need to run twice, but uh, let's do that. Let's see what happens. I'm running this. Okay, so I have to get this down. Okay, so everything is down. So I have to get this up. And then this one. And finally this one. Okay, everything is back online. So now I'm on node 2. Okay, I'm on node 2. Will I be able to connect from node 1? I was not able to do that since I configured load balancer and I ran that script. Now it should allow me to connect. Okay, see, I'm able to connect from node 1, even though node 2 is primary. Just to show you up, host name is node 1. Okay, from node 1, I'm able to connect to the listener without any problems since I ran that load balancer script. I just ran that load balancer script. Now, how about DR node? Will will I be able to connect from DR node? Let's test it. It should work. Let's see that. If not, we need to figure out what should be, what should we do to avoid this issue? Okay, see, well, I'm not able to connect from DR node. I'm not able to connect from DR node. I'm able to connect from node 1, which is not primary. I'm able to connect from node 2, which is primary. So I don't need to worry about who is primary. Whenever node 2 or node 1 is primary, I don't face any issues. But from DR node, I will not be able to connect. That is the problem now. Okay, let me switch to node 1 and I'll show you again. Uh, let's try to fail over to node 1 just for a second. Between node 1 and node 2 will not face any problems. But from DR node, I will not be able to connect. That is the challenge what we have. Any missions that are from that different subnet, it won't work. All the missions which are in this subnet will work. And the missions which are in the DR subnet, you can't connect to listener. That is the problem. Okay, so it will connect, no problem, because I'm the primary also, so it should not be any issues. But the problem is with DR. DR, it won't connect. It will fail again. So that is the problem what we have. Execute, okay, network 2 and IP name. That's we will do now. But what if I make DR node as primary? Okay, for a moment, let's try to fail it over to DR node and see what happens. Refresh, secondary, failover. I'm trying to make DR as primary now, not node 1 or node 2. That's done. And now if I come and try to connect from node 1, will it work or not? I'm from node 1 trying to connect to my instance, listener. Okay, so the problem, again, one more problem, right? If DR node becomes primary and if I have not configured load balancer, then you can't connect from this subnet. Since I am on DR node, I should not be facing any problems. So let me just show you up. Host name DR node. Now I should be able to connect. Okay, this is the problem, guys. If you use load balancer, you should configure it properly. If you are not configured it properly, you will not be able to connect from your secondary replicas. That's the challenge what we have. So now I have to run that script again. I will run that script. That's no problem. But should I create separate load balancer, or what should I do now? Because I have two machines in one region and one machine, sorry, not region, in one subnet. These two machines are in one subnet and this machine is in another subnet, but all the three machines are in same VNet. I repeat. Okay, I'll write it here. I'll take somewhere here. This is in one subnet. I'll say subnet 1. Okay. And this is in DR subnet. This is DR subnet. And all these three machines are part of same VNet. This is our current configuration. So what should I do now to make this work? Should I create another load balancer or what should I do? Because load balancer doesn't
Peering?
know. Okay, peering. Let's hear the answer. This is where your networking concepts comes into picture. If you are good at networking, then obviously you will find the solution. Okay, one said peering. What about others?
Yeah, Vamsi, sorry, I missed something. Uh, can what we did actually yesterday, uh, we have missed something like now we are working on load balancer, right? You have created already one load balancer, right? From node for node one to node for node one and node two, right?
Yes. See, I
Uh,
created one load balancer, right?
mm,
We had
mm,
we had one load balancer for node one and node two. Okay.
mm,
Now
mm.
DR node came into picture. So my question is, should I create another load balancer? If I need to
Yeah,
create another load balancer, so the current setup is like this. So what's your take on this?
we need to create one more load balancer.
Okay, you have to create one more dance. Someone said peering. So do we need to peer the nodes or what should I do?
Not required. The same subnet, right? A different subnet, right? If different VNets is required a pairing.
Okay, so your answer is since I am part of same VNet, I don't need peering. Peering comes into picture only if we have different VNets, right? That's your
Yes, you are
answer.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why I'm doing this, let me delete this, delete, copy. And I'm going to show you one more use case here. Just I'll copy this because that is required. To copy here node. Okay. Um, copy. This is very much needed, guys. So that is the reason I'm copying and I'm doing this. Otherwise, there's no need for me. Yeah, okay, and now one in, let's say, West Europe. Just give me a couple of minutes. I'll just connect to my office stuff and we'll talk about this setup. If you understand this, we are done. We are completely clear with our concepts. This is the most complicated uh, scenario. We need to, and say North Europe. Okay, so just give me a second. I'll come back. Okay. The top one and bottom one. We have two scenarios, top one and bottom one. The only difference between top one and bottom one is the VNets and the regions. Okay, so VNet 1 and VNet 2, they are in different regions in the bottom one, whereas the top one, we have only single VNet. Okay, now if I wanted to cover this bottom scenario, okay, bottom scenario, what is the primary thing that I have to do? Someone said peering. Yes, peering is required now. Since we are in different VNets, we need to peer each other. And also one more thing, the bottom one is going to be the real use case. I mean to say in real time, you will not use the top one. You have to use the bottom one because as I said, it's all about HA and DR. So disaster recovery servers will not be in the same region. It will be definitely in another region. Okay, it cannot be in the, I'm using West Europe and North Europe, but in your environment, say for example, Central India or West India, or Central US or East US. So definitely the DR node will be in different region and you need to have peering in place. Okay, you need to have peering in place. And in the bottom section, you need two load balancers. Okay, in the bottom section, you need two load balancers, whereas in the top section, on the top one, you don't need to go with two load balancers. One load balancer is good enough. So this might be surprising, but this is a reality. I'll repeat the scenario. The bottom section is the one that is going to be used in real-time environments. And in the bottom section, you need to have peering between the two VNets. And definitely you need to make use of another load balancer here to cover this region. Otherwise, what if I don't create load balancer? What will be the problem? First, let's talk about the problem. Problem is just like what I have shown. If DR node becomes primary, then no one will be able to connect to my listener. That is the problem. If I don't create load balancer, okay, then the problem is no one will be able to connect to my DR node when this becomes primary. And one more problem is if from DR node, I cannot connect to my node listener if I don't create load balancer here. Just like what I have shown on the top section, the same concept applies to the bottom section as well. Are you getting the point or not? This is not that easy, guys. So this requires some skills to understand, especially with networking part. Any questions, let me know.
So since we have a VNet on the
Yeah,
top diagram,
yeah,
we will deal with the one load balancer. But since we have two different VNets and we need to pair it, so we need a two different load balancers, correct?
exactly. We need two load balancers. That is understandable. But did you get the problem? What if I don't create the load balancer this side? That is what I'm talking about. If I don't create the load balancer, okay, the same problems what you are seeing right now will happen to me. So since currently, what is the primary node now? If I open up Clue admin, what is the primary node? DR node, right? Let me open this.
Mhm.
Connect to the cloud. Okay, it came. Sorry, cancel. So my AG is primary on DR node. Okay, availability group is primary on DR node. Currently, DR node is primary. So if I connect from DR node, as you can see, DR node is the host name. So if I try to connect to my listener, it is working fine. But if I try to connect from node 1 or node 2, I will not be able to connect because I have not created load balancer for my DR node. See, it will fail. So that is the problem. First, you have to understand the problem.
Mhm.
Are you getting the problem? First, understand the problem. Then solution is very simple. We'll talk about the solution. Are you getting the problem now?
Yeah,
If
got it.
if DR node becomes primary, I will not be able to connect from node 1 or node 2 without load balancer. So I didn't create load balancer on the DR node. That is the problem what I'm facing. If node 1 or node 2 becomes primary, I will not be able to connect from DR node. That is one more problem. Two problems. If DR node becomes primary, this section will not be able to talk to this section. And if this section becomes primary, this subnet or this VNet cannot talk to this missions. So that is the problem what I have currently. Okay. Is the problem is are you able to get the problem now first? I hope it is clear now. So problem, we understood the problem, but now coming back to the solution. So in this case, we need two load balancers, but in this case, you need only single load balancer. How come one single load balancer will be able to solve this issue? Any guess? Any guesses?
Because both are in different subnet.
Yes, both are in different subnets, but here also both are in different subnets, right? But I said here I need to create two load balancers.
Here a different VNet and different subnet. So
Yeah,
we need load balancer. This is what my understand.
yeah. So understand this networking topology, then it is very easy. So since we are in different subnets and different VNets in the bottom section, okay, in the top section I have different subnets, but same VNet, same VNet. But in the bottom section, I'm having different VNets. Okay. So this VNet,
But one sorry to interrupt you. One myth is
yeah,
there no. So in the your statement also sometimes you say that if it's a different subnet, we don't require either load balancer or DNN. But in bottom scenario, as per practically, if it's a different subnet, right? I'm not coming to the part VNet. I'm coming to the part of subnet, different subnet. Then already you have one load balancer you have created here on the first two of nodes. And third node is in different subnet only. Then why we? That's what I have a bit confused on. Why again we want creating load balancer? Because of only for different VNet you are going this option. If that's the option, then yes. If other answer, then I'm
no,
thinking
let's
about.
let's take one more diagram. Okay. So let's create one more scenario. Or else is it possible to do it from here? Oh no, 1 second. I got your question. So Ganesh's question is, I told many times that if it is multi-subnet, you don't need to leverage either DNN or load balancer. Is that right?
Yes,
Ganesh.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah. So now I need to take another diagram instead of disturbing this.
No, I
So
understand the concept, Vansi, but I'm not, don't take your waste time.
no,
But
no, no.
the
It's
second scenario,
this is the right time to discuss this question. That is the reason I'm taking up your question. So there is plenty of scope for your question. So just give me a second. So is it possible to copy entire thing? Yes, copy, paste here. Okay. So control that, paste here. Okay. Now, okay. So let's talk about your scenario. I said I don't need load balancer or DNN if it is multi-subnet. That was my statement. Okay. So now first talk about the first scenario first. Okay. I mean the top one. We'll talk about the bottom one later. Okay. So in this case, what's your take? Do I need load balancer or DNN in this case, or I need to keep this side by side? Make you understand. Your question is very, very, very important, Ganesh. So if you understand this, we are done with all the different complex scenarios. So that is the reason I took your question. Just give me a second. Understand this carefully. What is the difference between this one and this one?
We have the two different subnets in the node 1 and node 2 versus in the bottom diagram, we have one single subnet for both the nodes.
Yeah. So Ganesh, is this clear? Can you see the
yes,
diagram
yes, yes,
first?
yes, yes, yes.
Understand the diagrams very carefully. The top one, okay, well, let's talk about the bottom one, which we already completed. This is our bottom scenario, right? I have only one subnet, and under one subnet, I have two nodes. Okay. Here on the top one, we have two subnets. Okay, two subnets, and all the three subnets. In total, we have three subnets. Okay, in total, we have three subnets, but all are under one VNet. Okay, in the top one. The bottom one, we have only two subnets, and in one subnet, we have two missions in the bottom one. Okay, so on the top one, you don't need load balancer or DNN. On the bottom one, you need load balancer or DNN for this to work. Why the problem is happening with the bottom one? Why not with the top one?
On top one, even though it's the same VNet, both are different subnet. That's why we are not considering VNN and DNN.
So in the top one, okay, in the top one, how many IPs will I get for my always on listener? Currently, we have two IPs, right? So if I open up my always on listener, two IPs, right? One is with 10.1.0, the other one is 10.1.1. So if I take this scenario, how many IPs will I get for my always on listener? Will it be two or will it be three?
3?
Exactly. So it will be three because we have different subnet. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, what happens is that if I go up here, I will get three networks: cluster network 1, cluster network 2, and cluster network 3. Let's imagine 10.1 is the cluster network 1, 10.1.1 is cluster network 2. Imagine I created one more network with the name 10.1.2. Okay. So carefully watch this: 10.1.0, 10.1.1, and the next one will be 10.1.2. Okay. So then what happens is that for my listener, okay, come on. Why it got stuck? I'll open up another DR node. You open up there also. So in this scenario, when we create one more subnet for node 2, if it is sitting in different subnet, then you will get one more IP saying as 10.1.2.35. You will get three IPs. You will get three IPs for my always on listener. So coming to this picture, then you don't need load balancer or DNN. I'm saying this you don't need. Why I'm saying this you don't need for the top one, like this one?
Because it has their own subnets to connect from the
Exactly.
listener.
So every node is having its own subnet. Okay. Every SQL server, every I mean to say every node, I should say node. Every node is part of one subnet. Okay. And then when it comes to listener, you will have one more IP here, 10.1.2.35. And now the important part is, since we get three networks here, you will get three dependencies here. This or this or this. So when you are failing over, SQL Server knows it has to fail over to either 10.1.0 series or 10.1.1 series or 2 series. Each mission is independent here. Okay, each mission is part of one subnet and only one mission is there. Only one mission per subnet. If it is only one mission per subnet, then you don't need load balancer or DNN. Understand this, Ganesh? I am repeating this.
Yep.
In,
I got it.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you have only one machine per subnet, then you don't need load balancer or subnet. But what is our current problem? I have two machines in one subnet, like this one, coming back to our diagram. So I have not this one, this one. So I have two machines in one subnet. Okay. Two machines in one subnet and one mission in another subnet. The problem is, if I wanted to fail over, I can fail over between these two subnets. That is fine. But once this become either node 1 or node 2, I don't know where to fail over. I mean to say, if node 1 or node 2, if it failover happens between node 1 or node 2, SQL Server doesn't know, and it will not allow you to connect from another replica or another missions in this case, because it has to have either DNN or load balancer to take the connectivity help. I mean to say, to establish that connectivity from the secondary replica in the same subnet, you need to have that functionality like load balancer or DNN. Otherwise, it won't work. That is the problem if you have multiple machines in subnet. So in simple terms, if you have multiple machines in one subnet on Azure VMs, you need the help of load balancer or DNN. Game over. That's it. One single statement. Again, I'll repeat my statement. That is the biggest statement. If you have multiple machines under one subnet on Azure VMs, you need to take the help of either load balancer or DNN. That's it. If you have multiple machines, not multiple, if you have single machines in each subnet, then you don't need to make use of either load balancer or DNN because of the OR dependency. In this case, because I have only one machine per subnet, then I don't need load balancer or DNN.
Got it, Ramsey. Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. I am asking this question to all. Is this concept clear? When should I use load balancer or DNN? When I have multiple missions in one subnet. Got that point? Very, very simple, but very, very tricky at the same time. If the same question is being thrown on Azure, on on-premises, do we need load balancer or DNN? What will be your answer? You don't need any of them because in on-premises, it works completely different. You don't need load balancer or DNN, even though multiple missions are part of same subnet. That is different. Azure VMs is different. On-prem is different. On on-prem, even though multiple missions are part of same subnet, you don't need to make use of load balancer or DNN. But here I have to make use of load balancer or DNN. Otherwise, I will not be able to connect from my secondary replica. That is the problem. So that is what I am facing right now. From DR node, I am not able to, if DR node becomes primary, I'm not able to connect from node 1 or node 2. Okay, because I didn't create load balancer here. I have to create load balancer. So my point here is, if I come back to this diagram, should I create separate load balancer or one load balancer is good enough? That was my statement, right? Where is this? This one or this one? This one. So should I create one load balancer or should I create multiple load balancers? In this scenario, you have to create different load balancers because this VNet doesn't know anything about this VNet. Since in our case, I have only one VNet, I will be able to see entire subnets. Okay. Since I'm having only one VNet, I will be able to see subnet 1 and DR subnet. So that is the reason one load balancer is good enough. But here in this case, I have to create two load balancers because I don't know, this VNet doesn't know anything about this VNet. Let me go to my portal and I'll show you how I configured my load balancer. So this is the most critical part. Any questions? I'm repeating this n number of times because this is such a complicated topic. I think Sai is the one who understood completely. I can say confidently. Oh, where is this? What is this? I'm not able to remove this. Okay. If you see my load balancer, I created only one load balancer. Okay, test is my load balancer name. Now watch this carefully. One second, guys. Can you mute, guys? So how to mute all? Okay. Yeah, here it is. I'm sorry, I'm not able to find mute. So can you see this? So in my picture, I have two front-end IPs. Means two front-end IP configuration, two back-end pools. Of course, three missions. So three back-end pools. Oh my God. Okay, the problem is I have to create two rules for each stuff. I have to create two rules. Can you see this? Kumar, I think. Oh my God. Are you getting this point, guys? Is this clear? Except Kumar, anyone, could you please reply for me? Vikram or Ganesh or Mani?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amshi. All good.
So I created two front-end IP configuration rules. It was this one initially what I created. Yesterday I created one more front-end IP configuration with this IP 10.1.35 IP, and then I created one more health probe with 58888. Okay, with 58888, and then finally one more load balancer. Okay, one more load balancer. This time with 1433, and this has these two rules. If you want, I can delete this one and I can show you from the scratch. What should I do? Are you able to understand this, or should I create it from the beginning? The second ones, I mean to say IP2s.
Can you create it?
Okay, let me delete this. Backend tools. From where I'm getting this noise? Okay,
Mute all.
oh, I think I'm pressing mute all, but I keep getting this. Okay, for the first time I'm having this problem. Okay, mute all. Mute all. Yes. Okay, let me delete all the health probes too and all. So let me delete this. Deleted this, NAT rules, load balancing rules, health probes. This one has to be okay, I deleted everything. Now I'm going to show you from the scratch. I keep getting this. What should I do? How to stop this person? Only remove is the option. It feel bad if I remove. Okay, let me do this. So what is the secondary IP what I have? 10.1.1.35, right? So I have to create an entry in my load balancer for my secondary IP. Okay, I have to create an entry for my listener. Listener IP should be added to load balancer. Otherwise, it won't work, right? It has to know about our listener IP. So what I have to do is I have to click on add and I have to create FE IP I'll say demo. So now I can choose the subnet here. I can choose the subnet that is part of DR subnet. Okay, that is the reason I said one load balancer is good enough. But in case of this diagram, okay, in case of this diagram, I cannot choose the subnet. That's what I'm saying. I cannot choose the subnet which is part of different VNet. Okay, one VNet cannot talk to another VNet. So one load balancer that is part of one VNet, it doesn't know anything about VNet that is coming from another region. Okay, so that is the reason in that scenario you have to create separate load balancer. But in case of my scenario, since I'm having all my missions under one subnet, I can use only one single load balancer. I don't need to create separate load balancer for that. So just one more entry is good enough. Okay, so that's it. 10.1.1.35. Save this. And backend pool, I already added node, our DR node, so I don't need to disturb that. So let it get created. And health probe is created or it's taking time. Deployment in progress. Just wait for it. Yeah, it got succeeded. If I refresh, now I have two entries. Okay. And now health probe, I have to create one more health probe. So that health probe is for another subnet. So I'll say HEIP demo. So port number is going to be 58888 and then save. Okay. And now load balancer rules. I have to create one more load balancer rule that makes use of my newly created front-end IP rules and backend pools. So what is that newly created one? FEIP demo. So this is the one I have to choose. Backend, there is only one backend. You don't need to create multiple backends. One backend pool is good enough. So this is the port of 1433 and this is 1433. And here I have to choose HP IP demo, which is for 58888. Means you have to choose secondary health probe. You have to choose secondary front-end IP address. You have to choose um, yeah, these are the two things. Okay. Backend pool, I just created one backend pool. In real time, also one backend pool is good enough. But if you want, you can create multiple backend pools also. I don't need to create multiple backend pools here. But since all missions are part of one availability set, I created only one backend pool. Any questions here? That's it. Once we are done with this configuration, then you have to run that PowerShell script with this setup, like the one what I'm showing you right now. Go there and go to our PowerShell script. Let's make our node 1 as primary first, and then I'll run that. Because it's better to run when on the node which is primary rather than on different nodes. It's better to run that on the mission which is primary. So I'm making node 1 as primary. And now I have to run this secondary script. So in secondary script, now I have to make changes. So it should be cluster network 2. Okay. And then this should be 10.1.1.35. So what is this one? This one is nothing but you have to go here and get the properties and the name what is being written here. You have to copy that name. So this is the same name 10.1.1.35 and this is my IP 10.1.1.35. Okay. And then you have to run 548s now instead of 549s. So these are the things that you have to run for your secondary load balancer. Okay. Run this now. Uh, Anything else did I miss? I don't think so, right? Everything looks fine. Cluster network 1, network 2, 10.1.1.35. Yeah, so that's it. So now just take this offline and bring everything online. Okay, and now I should be able to connect from DR node even though node 1 is primary. Let's test that. MS DR node. See, I'm able to connect. Previously, I was not able to connect. Got my point? Now you can say yes or no. The node 1 is primary. but still I'm able to connect from DR node, which was not happening before creation of that load balancer. After creating the load balancer, it is allowing me to connect now. Otherwise, it won't allow us to connect. Okay, now even if DR node becomes primary, it shouldn't be any problem because I have my load balancer set up now. So let's try to make DR node as primary and see what happens. Any questions here, guys? So I've shown you everything that is possible from my side.
See, you don't have created another load balancer, right? Already in existing load balancer itself, you have added that
Exactly.
IP.
Exactly. That's what I did. See, I'm able to connect from node 1 also, even though AG group is being owned by DR node. With that addition of load balancer entries like front-end IP, health probe, and probe ports. So like this entry. I made this entry, and then this entry. After adding those 3 entries to the existing load balancer, I'm able to achieve this. Why I didn't create separate load balancer? It's not needed because I'm part of one VNet. Okay. Since I'm not this one, why this keeps on? Since I'm part of one VNet, I don't need to create extra load balancer. But in the bottom scenario, since these two machines are in different VNets and different regions, I have to create different load balancers because this load balancer that is part of one VNet, it doesn't know anything about this VNet. So it's not possible to create your load balancer. I mean, single load balancer is good enough in the bottom section. But here, yes, single load balancer is good enough. If you want, you can create load balancer here also, but it will be of extra charge. I already shown you of all the resources that are consuming for this month, load balancer is the top one. It is taking a lot of money. Okay, so that is the reason I don't need to create separate load balancer. It's to save the cost. See, already it went for 35 euros for me. It is to save the cost, and also you don't need that. You don't need that. Okay, any questions now? So you may ask me like, what about this scenario? Did you ever explain anything like this in our videos? Yes, I did cover this bottom section also with load balancer. It's there in our videos. So that video is here, which runs for almost 3.5 hours. This one, 125. Entry number 125 covers you this scenario, the bottom section. This I have not covered. So that is the reason I intentionally, instead of showing up multiple VNets, I have just come up with single VNet. Any questions now? I think this is the best time.
See, if within single VNet we have multiple nodes, so how we will calculate how many load balancers required? Is there kind of formula or something?
One load balancer is good enough. How many is not the question here. It's about how you configure and how about the connectivity. Okay, you don't need to create multiple load balancers. So first of all, just keep this thumb rule in our minds, guys. Very simple thumb rule. I will say one load balancer per one VNet. That's it. That is my funda. I repeat my statement. One load balancer per one VNet is good enough to cover all your replicas. One VNet. I'm not talking about subnets. I'm talking about VNets. For
Vamshi,
example,
in real time, here you are saying clearly that this is different VNet, this is different VNet. In as a DBA point of view, what maximum we can do, we can ping the server and we can at least find the net, which is a subnet, different subnet or same subnet. But we won't go depth of VNet level. So how come as a DBA we come to know how many load balances can be configured, or else every time we have to be checked with that. The concern SSO or Windows team or any network team to be, and with the service comes under which VNet like that, or how the approach see, because maximum we can ping the server and get the IP addresses, right? From there we can identify whether it comes under which same
I will
subnet or
take your
different
question. I'll
subnet.
show you now. before I take your question, just I will show you up. Like by doing this, with one load balancer, you are saving the cost, first of all. Okay, see this one. I just wanted to show you the cost. Load balancer. Where is load? This is the load balancer, and it is 3.38. Okay, these are my machines. It is costing me €5, means 500. Anything what you see here, it's into 100. So this is 500, this is 400, this 300. Okay, so that is the reason I'm saying don't share my videos, because I'm putting a lot of effort. Okay, so that is the only request what I'm doing from my side. Okay, coming back to your question. So how would I know about different VNets and all, right? So
Yeah.
if I go to my missions, okay, if I go to my missions, you have to go to your missions also. Missions you can definitely check, right? If I go
Yeah,
to
we
my
have access.
mission,
Yeah.
yeah. If I go to my node 1 here, okay, I'll show you node 1 and node 2 and DR node so that you will come to know. Go to your networking section of that mission. Go to network settings. Okay. Of course, I'm showing this individually, but I will show you the best part also, like how to deal. Can you see this? SQLN1 VNet. So that is the name. If I go to node 2,
But it's a VNet name, right? Virtual network name.
yeah, virtual network, VNet name. So it is
VNet name.
SQLN1 VNet. So DR
Okay.
node. So all my missions are part of SQLN1 VNet, but DR node, if you see, I am having separate subnet. So this is virtual network slash subnet. So for DR node, it is DR subnet, but for node 1 and node 2, it is default subnet. I mean, I didn't create as primary subnet, but default is nothing but primary in my case. If you
Good.
don't create name, it will create just created. It will just create. Sorry, it just created. It just gets created with the name default. Okay. So the easiest way to identify all the missions in your VNet is just go to your virtual networks. Okay, and pick your virtual network. This is my virtual network. And if you go to resource visualizer, there is something called as resource visualizer.
But real time we don't have access. And see, that's the problem. The virtual
I
networks and even storage account also we can't go
Yeah,
virtual
that's
network.
true. That's true. That's true. I'm not saying that it is possible from real world.
Maximum we can go on that our virtual SQL virtual machines and we can see whatever we want.
See, easiest way to identify all the missions that are part of single VNet is you have to go to our virtual networks. Okay, under settings, there is something called as connected devices. Can you see this? Connected devices. So these are all the devices that are part of this VNet. So if you see here, I have my what is that? Node 1, node 2, DR node, everything is being appeared here. And if you want visual diagram, this is the one. Like if I click on this, so this gives you the picture, like complete picture. I think there is something. Just give me a second. That visualizer will be there somewhere. Address, not this one. Address space, no. Anyone knows this? I forgot that. Diagram, yeah, diagram. Where is the diagram, Sai? Diagram. I forgot where is that option. I have shown in the past, but now I'm not able to recall. Where can I see?
VMC, I think resource level we can find it there.
Okay, resource
I'm
level,
not wrong.
performance tuning. VNet, I think only connected devices. So this is under resource group. So this gives you the picture, but it's technically not possible. If you run PowerShell script or CLI or any other stuff, then you can get all the missions that are part of that VNet and all. So that is the best way. Or else, if you are having access, just go to virtual networks and go to that. Choose the network and go to that connected devices. That is the easiest way. Okay, so that's what I can say for the moment.
Okay.
No questions. I will stop here and I will share the recording.
Once for each mission is having only one subnet, and then we need not VNN and DNN, right? So that how can we do the update, or those missions should be added to the
No, I'm not
in
able to
IP
hear you
config.
properly. Can you come again?
Okay. Actually, if each mission is uh, having each a single subnet,
Okay,
so that
let's
there is no
take
need of.
this slowly. So like this. So if each mission, I mean, in one subnet, if I have only one mission, right? That's
Yes,
your question, right? So how will I
yes,
add that
that's my
IP
question.
configuration, something that what I've shown?
Yes, no, no, no. Those missions should be added to the IP
Yes,
configuration, right?
IP
Then
configuration.
only it
That's
will
true.
work.
Then only it will
That's
work.
my question.
Yeah, that's true. So if I go to my DR stuff, uh, come on. Whenever it is required, my internet will be slow or portal will be slow. I don't know. Compared to on-premises listener response, will there be? Yes, load balancer. If you see here from Microsoft article only, so there will be delay of 5 seconds or 10 seconds. I think 5 seconds. So even to fail over, it takes 5 seconds. I've shown this demo in our classes where uh, side by side I've shown DNN and VNN together. I mean to say VN is nothing but our load balancer. So I failed over and I've shown how fast DNN works and how slow load balancer works. It is there in our video. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, I think that's it. So if you understand these two diagrams, our game is over. I mean, we are completely in a good shape. This diagram and this diagram. Khatam, as he says. Who is that? Rahul Gandhi.
So,
Khatam. Yeah,
last question.
go ahead,
So,
go ahead.
VNN and DNN can be used even in a single subnet and multi-subnet, both, right? There is no point of using only in multi-subnet or single subnet.
Which one? DNN or VNN?
VNN, yes.
VNN can be used in multi-subnet and single subnet. Single subnet you have to use. Okay. For example, okay, let's to make you feel little more comfortable. What if I add one more machine here? DR node 2, I will say. Okay. DR node 2, I am saying. Then in this scenario, what happens if I just add one more machine?
No, that will be part of the subnet 2, DR subnet.
Yeah, it will be part of DR subnet first spot. Okay. Then,
Okay.
okay. Then what you have to do is, uh, do you need to create another load balancer now, or one load balancer is good enough?
Uh, one load balancer is then, as you said, one
Yeah,
VNet
for
and
one
one
VNet,
load
one
balancer.
load balancer. That's it. So stick to that funda. You don't need to do anything. Okay. So now the only change what happens is that you have to go to your what is the new one?
No,
Yeah.
no, Vamsi, that
No,
is
no.
not my question.
And
Actually, VNN and DNN can be used as single subnet and multi-subnet, right?
multi-subnet also. Yes. You can use
There is
VNN, DNN.
no, yes, there is no any restriction that VNN is related with single subnet, DNN is related with multi-subnet,
That's not the
or
case.
something like that.
No, that's not the
Yes,
case. So VNN and DNN can be used for single and multi-subnets. That is the first point. You don't need to use VNN or DNN, provided if your setup is something like this. Something like this. Means in every subnet, we have only one mission. Then you don't need to make use of them. Got my point?
yes.
Yeah, it will be clumsy only. Despite of me putting my best efforts, it still looks little bit confusing for you. But just stick to one point. Just stick to one point in your mind. If you have one machine per one subnet, okay? Again, I am repeating, this is the only point. If you can remember this point, you can eliminate DNN and VNN. You don't need either of them. Again, I'm saying if one machine per one subnet, then you don't need either of them, VNN or DNN. If you have multiple machines in one subnet, any of the subnets, not just subnet 1 or subnet 2 or DR subnet, in any of this configuration, if you have multiple machines in one subnet, you have to bring that load balancer or DNN into picture. If it is just one machine per one subnet, you don't need VNN or DNN. Got my point?
Okay, in real time, yes, I got your point. In real time, what cases we can see
In real time,
actually?
in real time, if you
It
ask me,
depends upon the company.
yeah, it
It
depends
depends
upon
upon the company.
requirements, but this is the one that will be used mostly. Definitely, you will have multiple machines in same subnet in real time, and one more machine in another region and another VNet. So this is the one that will be used mostly in real time. This is HA and DR. Even this one is also HA and DR only. This is HA and this is DR. But you will not create separate subnet for node 2 in general. You don't waste your IP addresses just for having node 2 and to eliminate DNN and VNN. Okay. So usually node 1 and node 2 will sit in same subnet, in real time. But in case if your company is flexible to create one machine per one subnet, then you don't need to create VNN or DNN. If another node comes into picture and if it sits here, just imagine if it sits here in the same DNet, then again you cannot use this configuration. Means you have to bring DNN or VNN into picture. One simple rule: if multiple machines are there in one subnet on Azure virtual machines, I'm talking about Azure virtual machines. This is not related to on-premises. I'm saying this again and again. This is not related to on-premises. This is only related to Azure virtual machines. If multiple machines are part of same subnet, you have to use VNN or DNN. That's it. If one machine per one subnet, you don't need to make use of either of them. Okay, I think I'm clear. I'm pretty sure. I hope you guys are clear. If you have any questions, you can talk to me later.
One last question in the about top diagram.
Okay, let me share again.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the we have we have two machines in single subnet and DR is totally in another subnet, right? So even if the DR is in another subnet, so while DR is becoming primary, why we are using load balancer again? It should connect without load balancer or DNN, right? The
That's what
DR1 if
that's
it's
what
primary,
that's what I've
because
shown.
it's sitting in another subnet.
That's what I've shown. I don't know if you watched this completely. Whenever DR node has become primary, I'm not able to connect from node 1 or node 2 without that load balancer configuration. That's why I said understand the problem several times. If no DR node becomes primary, okay, without these entries to my load balancer, where is that? Without these entries to my load balancer, the second ones, I don't know why portal is slow. I've clearly shown without adding that FEIP2 and HEIP2, whatever it is, health probe, front end IPs, without that stuff, I'm not able to connect because it doesn't know. It doesn't know that that guy is the primary. DR node is primary. Without the help of load balancer, SQL Server doesn't know anything. So it is this load balancer that is helping the SQL Server to understand that DR node is primary. Got my point? Without
Yeah,
that,
I saw that, but
yeah.
yes, I got your point. I saw that configuration, but why I am getting confused here because we are totally in different subnet, right? So when it comes to different subnet, then it should work. That is my confusion on it.
When it is different subnet, okay, what is the IP address of my listener in different subnet? This one, right? 10.1.1.35, right? Whenever DR node becomes primary, what is the IP of my listener? Sri, are you there?
Yeah, the DR1.
Yeah,
15.
DR. So
Yes.
10.1.1.35 is the IP whenever DR node has become primary. But what is the entry what I created before this? It was only this one, right? 10.1.0.35 is the only entry what I had in my load balancer. So load balancer, it knows only about this subnet. It doesn't know about this subnet. So without this entry, if DR node becomes primary, it cannot communicate. It cannot communicate with DR node. I mean to say it cannot means node 1 or node 2 cannot access with listener name since I have not added this entry. So this is different subnet. This is different subnet. So for me to talk to that different subnet, I need the help of load balancer and I need to add this entry. Otherwise, I'm not aware of that entry. I mean to say I am not aware of the different subnet, so I cannot talk to that machine. So that is the problem. I know this is not that easy. Okay, let me be very honest. This is not that easy topic. This is
Let's
something, yeah.
let me see one question. In the DR node, in DR network interface, did we include the this IP listener IP in DR node side?
Where?
I mean,
Network interface.
whenever.
When you say
Yes,
network
whenever
interface,
we configure.
where it is, wherever you,
Sorry.
is it here?
No,
You
no,
said
not.
it?
No. In the portal, when we go to the network card, NIC.
Nick, okay.
Yeah.
Nick, I don't need to add that entry here because we are using load
Yeah.
balancer functionality.
In
We are not
this
using
load balancer,
multi-subnet concept.
multi-subnet. Yes.
So I don't
Got
need
you.
to include that. So if at
Okay.
all, see, for this configuration, I need to that IP configurations. For this kind of setup, I mean to say one subnet permission. If this is the case, I need to make use of that IP configurations thing what I have shown in the previous classes. But once VNN or DNN comes into picture, I don't need to do this. Means IP configurations is not required. Your question is like this one. Like if I go to that DR node,
Yes.
yeah, you don't
Yes,
need to do
Ramsey.
that.
Yeah. So that is why the DR server, when it fail over to DR, they are not able to recognize. I mean, which server is. We are not able to connect from the DR side.
Yeah.
If we didn't configure the load balancer with DR IP.
Can you see this?
DR listener IP.
Can you see this? All these entries are here. Okay, I'm not saying no for that. What is my IP? 10.1.1.35. Can you see 35 here? Can you see 35 here?
No.
No, right? So that means I have not even given my entry. I mean to say my listener IP, always on listener IP, but still I'm able to connect from DR node or node 1 or node 2. Why? Because of load balancer. Okay, I'm removing the entries for your sake. I'm removing this DRIP and that because I didn't do that when I created that multi-subnet. Just simply remember that if this is the configuration, you need to add that entries. Your listener IPs should be added here only in this configuration. But if your configuration is something like this, you don't need to do because I'm using load balancer or else I'm using DNN. Got my point? See, even now, okay, if I go to my node 1 or node 2, so for node 1 or node 2, what is that entry? 10.1.0.35, right? Can you see that 10.1.0.35 in my network settings? It will not be there. You can see this, but still it is working properly, right? Why? See this, it is 45, not 35. 45, not 35. My IP address is 35, but still it is working. See this? Even if I remove that, there will not be any problem. So I'm removing in front of you just to show you up, but still it will work. Let's give it a try. I removed it, right? See, I'm able to connect from DR node. What is primary now, right now? DR node is primary. If you want, I can connect it from this entry, from node 1. It's not related to IP configuration at all. It is working purely because of load balancer. Is it better to use DNN compared to ILB to avoid this confusion? Absolutely. It's very, very simple configuration. Go with DNN. You don't need to worry about this load balancers, when to create and where to create and what to add and what needs to be added, everything. Just create DNN. Simple solution. But only problem with DNN is it will be little slow. It will be little slow because it has to go to your DNS server to get your IPs. So if your DNS server is not responding fast enough, then you will see timeouts from applications. Even if you use multi-subnet failure equal to true, you may see issues with the DNN. But the good side is you don't need to create this load balancer and all. I'm happy that at least one person is able to completely understand the picture. Okay, then I'll stop here. I'll take your questions later. So I think I will try to do lift and shift next week, most likely. If not, this week. I didn't practice that at all, so I need something from my side to practice that and how it works and all. If I'm able to do it by tomorrow, I will show up. Otherwise, next week. Okay, till that time. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.